What is going on, my friends? This is Dave Sharpe. Welcome to Wake Up Legendary. Today, I'm going to talk about something that may piss you off, but it's absolutely true. Now, I'm going to deliver some real hard news to some of you guys, so I'm going to try to be as compassionate as possible. I really am. But I'm going to hit you with some truth and reality that some of you are ready to hear and some of you are not ready to hear. But even if you're not ready to hear it, I'm going to talk to you like you're the person that I know you're going to be and the person that you can be instead of the person that you are today. And that's how some of the best coaches and the best, mentors, whatever you want to call people, just people who have changed my life and made a big impact on me. Those people have talked to me as the man that they know that I can be and not the man that I am today. And I think that's a big distinction that we all have to see the difference in, is that each one of us are not living up to our full potential right now, right? So we have to really choose, and we get to make this choice every single day. We have to make the choice about who do we want to surround ourselves with. Do we want to surround ourselves with people who are going to talk to us and treat us like who we are today? Or are we going to surround ourselves with people and listen to people who are going to talk to us and talk to the person who we can be, talk to the person whose potential we can live up to? Let me show you an image. All right. I want to show you something, and it's not fancy. This is not about the design of this particular piece. This is simply about the words that this says. All right, so check this out. What this says is getting rich and succeeding is hard. Being poor and failing is hard. Which hard will you choose? See, both paths are hard, guys. Both paths. If you're going to succeed, you're going to get rich, you're going to build wealth, you're going to have success online, it's going to be hard. It's going to be a lot of hard work. You're going to have to take responsibility. And that's like really what this conversation this morning is all about. You're going to have to take massive responsibility for your own results. You're not going to be able to look at somebody else. You're not going to be able to look at somebody else's success. You're not going to be able to say, oh, just because they've succeeded, that means that I'll succeed. It doesn't mean that getting rich and succeeding, you're not going to get rich and succeed because somebody told you that you can, somebody promised that you can, somebody made a guarantee. You're going to get rich and you're going to succeed because you worked your ass off for it. Because you worked your ass off for it. And being poor and failing is, in my opinion, even harder, because what I see so many people doing is working really, really, really hard, trying to avoid doing the work. Like they scour the internet, they search for months and years and sometimes decades, scouring the internet, scouring newspapers and magazines and classified ads before the internet was invented, looking for that one perfect scheme that they could do no work, but they could get rich. And so they worked like months or years or decades, working really hard, trying to get rich by doing nothing. But in turn, what they don't realize is that being poor that whole time and failing, not succeeding, has been the hardest thing that they've ever done. So we all get to make a choice. We all get to make a choice every day. We all get to make a choice as you come in and start your journey here at Legendary. Whether this is your first venture online and you're learning affiliate marketing and you're learning how to sell information via courses, coaching, and events, whether this is the very first thing that you've done or whether this is the 55th hundred thing that you've done. You get to make a choice which hard you want to work. Which hard you want to work. Because both paths are really hard, guys. Both paths are really hard. Succeeding is really hard and failing is really hard. You know, I get a chance to be able to see and hear all kinds of different things from people, questions, mindsets, right? Mindsets. And this is really what this is about, is it's a mindset. It's a mindset that we have. And somewhere along the line, this is not a motivational speech, guys. I want to hit you with some practical points that'll get you thinking about where along the lines, if this, seeking and looking for that easy thing and that always eludes you has been part of your personality. Somewhere along the line, you develop that and you have to undevelop it, right? You have to undevelop it. And who knows where that was developed, where that seed was planted inside of your garden. Maybe it was growing up and you heard your parents talking about how they were sort of having a victim mentality about everything, right? Blaming people. This is a real common thing, right? I mean, it's pretty much human nature. It's why 90, guys, it's one of the reasons why there is such a wealth gap in the world. Obviously, I'm not talking about people who have inherited wealth. I'm talking about just people who all sort of started at the same starting point. Okay? Particularly people in America, right? The reason why, and let's just say, for example, in this online marketing space, the reason why there's such a huge percentage of people that don't succeed and such a small percentage of people that do succeed is because what you see or what you don't see behind the scenes is you don't see those people who are succeeding, how many hours they work, how hard they work, how much responsibility they take, how they react when something doesn't work out. And it's likely totally different than the 99, 98, or 99% of people that just kind of fumble and tumble around. So we got to go back into our history. We got to go back into our life and look, where did I develop this mentality or this expectation that something was just going to fall into my lap or that somebody else was supposed to do it for me? We see this a lot with government, right? Now, I believe that there's some things that the government should do. I really do. I think that if I'm going to pay as much taxes as I pay, the government can spend our tax dollars a lot more intelligently. Democrats and Republicans. This is not a political conversation. But at the same time, the government is never going to give me the type of life that I really want. So I don't rely on them, and I never have. And for the most of my adult life, I haven't even paid attention to politics. Now, I think it's important as we get older to pay attention to current events in politics and get involved with things that we're passionate about. But in terms of creating your livelihood, there is no politician that's going to do that for you. There is no savior that's coming for you. Now let's look at religion. Here's another thing. People sit around and pray. They pray. I told you this was going to piss you off. They pray. They say, if I just pray, then wealth is going to come. Or if I just pray, things are going to, just pray for it, Dave. Well, you know what I know about most religions? Most religions, there's a little piece in that religion that people forgot about, which is that you have free will, that you're ultimately responsible, right? Then we go over here and we talk about the boss. Well, my boss should be doing this for me. So now we've got government, we've got prayer, religion, and God, and then we've got the almighty boss that I'm pissed at because he hasn't given me a raise, or he doesn't acknowledge me, or she doesn't give me the recognition that I deserve. And the truth of the matter is she never will. He never will. They never are going to give you the recognition that you think that you deserve, which is why you got to go out and get it yourself. And you got to stop being so reliant on everybody else's validation about you. You got to stop being so reliant on everybody else telling you who you are, telling you whether you're good, whether you're good enough. Putting a number, $10 an hour, $11 an hour, $15 an hour on your identity. If you don't like it, then do something about it. So they come into entrepreneurship. People come into entrepreneurship. Oh, legend. I'm going to buy a course. Now all of a sudden it's their responsibility to determine my success. Well, I didn't get the support that I needed. Well, what do you want people to do? You want people to come out to your house and sit there next to you on the couch and go, all right, Johnny, it's time to get up and get in front of our desk now. Open up our computer, shoot some videos. That's not how life works. That's not how life works. So if you buy a training, if you go through a course, know that ultimately the responsibility is on you. The responsibility is on you, not the politician. The responsibility is on you, not God. The responsibility is on you, not your boss. The responsibility is on you, not me. See, at the beginning of my career, and this has become a career, I used to get so bent out of shape because I wanted people to succeed. I wanted them to succeed. I wanted to help people. I wanted everybody to succeed. And I got so frustrated when people didn't seem to want to do the work. Here I was, like, I don't know whether it was just a natural work ethic, whether it was something that I learned. I don't know, but I just pretty quickly I realized at the beginning of this journey back over 10 years ago that if I was going to have success, it was not going to be because some guru did it for me. It was not going to be because I joined the right business opportunity or joined the right MLM or had the right funnel builder. I realized that I was going to succeed because I worked my ass off. I never quit. I didn't complain, and I took ruthless responsibility for my successes and my failures. And then there was going to be a long-ass journey for me to get to where I wanted to go. And now some might say, I'm here. Oh, I've arrived. No, the journey continues. It's not about the destination. And back when I started and I had this realization and I started to create content and market, just like so many of you guys are doing now. And I started to give away bonuses and do trainings and sell courses and all this kind of stuff. I'd see people and I'd see their attitudes and they'd give up so easily. Or sometimes they'd start out loving me. And then within a couple of weeks or months, I'd be their worst enemy because they didn't succeed and somehow it was my fault. And I start to I got really confused. I was like, what is going on with people? Like, I don't understand it. Here I am. I've got just a different outlook on things. And there's so many people who have like this warped mentality that somebody's going to just fly out to their house. And it's usually the people who buy something for just a couple of dollars, right? Who have the biggest expectations. You know what I mean? So it's somebody who spent like a few dollars, $10, $20, $30, $100, and they're like emailing like, what are you going to do for me? And it's like, right? And I just started to realize, I was like, you know what? This is just who people are. Like, it was a really rude awakening for me. And I had to detach from what other people were going to do with the material that I created, with the shows, the lives, the videos that I put out, the courses that I created, the companies that I launched. I had to detach from what people were going to do because it was becoming really stressful for me. And I imagine that some of you guys are starting to feel that way too. Like you're looking around, you're taking lots of action, starting to get some results, and there's other people around you that are just kind of like dead weight. Like they just want you to do everything for them, or, like you give, but it's not enough. Or they take the videos that you create and put out there on TikTok and YouTube and Facebook for free, and then they criticize you and tell you it's not good enough, right? This is the type of people that the world is made up of. And it's a hard reality to come to terms with. But the truth is this. Look, check this out. I'm going to bring this back. Getting rich is hard. Succeeding is hard, but being poor and failing is hard too. And these people who just have this philosophy about life, they've chosen, even though they think that being poor and failing is easier, they've chosen that hard path. Because they don't want to take responsibility. They don't want it to be their responsibility. It's such a hard thing for us to take responsibility. I had to take responsibility back many years ago when my relationship was failing, and I was lost in my relationship with my wife. I had to take ruthless responsibility that she wasn't the problem, but I was the problem. And do you know, some years later, after I had that realization and went to work, went to therapy, like did all this work on myself, completely and totally focused on myself and me and only me and my growth and my boundaries and my childhood trauma and I'm talking about both my behaviors and also my insides, because I had a lot of toxic bullshit that was bubbling up to the top. Do you know my marriage today is better than it's ever been? And my wife hasn't changed a lot. But I have. I've grown. And business is the same exact way. A lot of people think that everything around them needs to change in order for them to succeed. Well, if I only had the right funnel builder, if I only had the right business opportunity, if I only had the right support, if I only had this, if I only had that, then, if we only had a Democrat president, if we only had a Republican president, if only other people were praying for me as hard as I was praying for myself, if only other people would be rooting for me as much as I root for them, if only other people would stop criticizing me, I don't criticize, if only my boss would give me a raise, if only I could get the recognition, if only the haters would stop commenting on my videos, if only more people would buy, if only more people would take action, if only. That is the language of somebody who has chosen to be poor and fail. It's a choice. It's a choice. Now, I'm not saying that there's not privilege, guys. I believe there's privilege. I believe in that. I actually do. I believe that I have privilege as a white male man, right? I believe in those things. But I believe women can have it harder than men. I believe black women can have it harder than men, right? Particularly white men. I believe in all those things. I do, because I've seen it play out. That's just my beliefs. I believe people from other countries have it harder. I believe people in third world countries, I can't even imagine. Being born in America is such a blessing. Or in any first world country where you have freedoms and internet and decent pay. But I'm going to tell you something that ultimately, if you want to be successful, you are going to have to choose that. You are going to have to choose that. And it is a choice, and it is going to be hard. But you know what? It's just as hard to be poor and to fail. It's just as hard. Just as hard. maybe harder. Because part of the path of getting rich, guys, and succeeding is the journey of overcoming challenges, of building self-esteem, because when something didn't go right, you took it into your own hands and you said, I can change this. I'm powerful enough. I'm not going to be a victim. I'm going to be a victor. I'm not going to be pessimistic. I'm going to be positive. I'm going to see the silver lining. I'm going to see the glass half full, not half empty. I'm going to choose to see my day, this opportunity like that. I'm going to choose that. I'm going to choose that today. Because the only person who suffers when you choose to be a victim, when you choose to not grow, to not heal, to not recover. And a lot of these pieces that are part of our personalities are from previous traumas. It's previous messaging that was given to us by society or teachers or family members. But it's our responsibility as adults to heal that, to change that, to go to therapy if you got to go to therapy, to stop thinking that a motivational seminar or even a powerful talk here on this show is going to change you. It's not. So we can't be just addicted to hearing somebody pump us up. And we also got to stop being addicted to relying on somebody else to motivate us and figure out how to motivate ourselves. Because that's a big piece of this. That's a big piece of this. Is we're so reliant on other people. We're so reliant on them for our self-esteem. We're so reliant on them for our motivation. We're so reliant on them for everything. Our income, how we feel about ourselves, all this kind of stuff. But I'm going to tell you something, that if you want the income to happen, you got to first change who you are. And I always say that you don't get the money and then become the person. You become the person and then you get the money. So if you feel like, oh, the boss has got the money hanging over your head, well, if you want to change that, don't just try to go find another boss. Don't just try to go find another business opportunity. That's what we see so many people do. Well, I tried this business and it didn't work, and then this business and it didn't work, and then this bit, right? Change who you are. Change how you show up to that business. I know that we don't teach e-com and drop shipping and agency stuff here, but the truth is that if you really wanted to succeed with that, you could. You could. It's not my favorite business model. It's not the business model that I'm going to go out and launch. But if I needed to be successful with that, I could. If I needed to be successful with a brick and mortar restaurant, I could. If I needed to be successful with a construction company, I could. If I needed to be successful selling glasses, I could. Because it's not the business. It's me. It's how I show up. I just, the conflict that I have is that the only person that I can really do anything about and change is me. That's my conflict, man. That's what I have to battle with. And it is a battle, right? It's a battle to come to terms with the only person that I can change is me. I can't change you. I can't change you. I don't want to be your guru. I don't want to be your savior. I don't want to even be a role model to anybody. I don't even consider myself any of those things. Because the only person that I can change is me. I can't change. That's why I don't say anymore. I used to. I don't say, let's go change the world. Because you know what? If I want to change the world, the best way that I can change the world is to change me and how I show up in the world. If you guys benefit from these talks and these shows and our education, fantastic. I'm grateful for that. But ultimately, my biggest hope, my biggest wish is that you guys make the decision to take total ruthless responsibility for your success, that you stop putting it on a politician, that you stop putting it on God, that you stop putting it on a boss, that you stop putting it on me or anybody else, and that you just say, I am powerful enough. I am powerful enough to determine whether I succeed or whether I fail. And I, regardless of the outcome, because I also need to learn to detach from outcomes. Regardless of the outcome, I'm willing. This is my hope for you guys, for you to be willing to say and really live it out. I'm willing to do the work, and I'm willing to take responsibility for the outcomes. I'm willing to look at me every single day. I'm willing to look at me in my marriage. I'm willing to look at me in my business, right? What happens when you go into marriage therapy? Number one thing, both people sit there and bitch and complain about the other one. What happens in politics? They sit around and they bitch and complain about the other side, right? That's a dysfunctional way of doing things. The only time, and this is, I'm telling you, this is, if there was ever a secret, this is it. The biggest breakthrough that you're ever going to have, that's going to change everything for you, is being willing to take ruthless responsibility for every single thing. Ruthless responsibility for the outcome of your actions. And I love it. I respect people so much when they say this. They come in, I meet with our coaching clients and stuff, and when they say, hey, I know that this is about me, the outcome is going to be determined upon my energy and output and efforts and how I utilize the information that you guys give me. And you know how rewarding and refreshing that is to work with people like that? It really is. It's really a breath of fresh air. So you tend to, when you have that attitude, more people want to help because they know, they can sense in you that you're not trying to put the responsibility off somebody else. You're fully owning your outcome. You're fully owning your life, your business. So my hope is today, listening to this, not that you change and all of a sudden it's like a burning bush and now you're a changed man or woman, but you have a real tough conversation, a real honest conversation with yourself about what hard work do you want to do? Do you want to do the hard work of succeeding, getting rich, whatever your definition of getting rich is? Or do you want to do the hard work of failing and staying poor? Because they are both extremely hard work. They're extremely hard work. Life is hard. Life is hard. But you know what? Like my wife actually, she's brilliant with our kids. She tells my 4-year-old, she says, you can do hard things. And that's some of the best advice I've ever heard anybody give anybody at any age. You can do hard things. I'm here to tell you, because I want you to remind me of this too. I'd love you to drop me a comment right now so I can come back and read it. Dave, you can do hard things. I need people to tell me that. I need people to build me up, because you know what? Sometimes I feel insecure inside. I feel like I want to be the victim. I feel self-pity sometimes. I see the glass half empty instead of the glass half full. And I think age weighs, I'm a lot more pessimistic as I get older than I was when I was younger, like and oblivious, right? So I think age, it's like the older we get, the more kind of we learn, we realize about the world, and it's somewhat depressing. I'm just being honest. You know what I mean? I'm just being honest. Thank you for those of you. Thank you. I can do hard things. And you know what? You can do hard things too. You can do hard things too. Okay? So I love you all and appreciate you, and thank you for being part of my support group and our community here at Legendary. I hope this was valuable to you. It'll be up on the podcast later today if you want to listen to it again over the weekend. I hope you have a blessed, safe, and legendary weekend, and we'll see you back here on Monday at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. Peace.